And here's all the muck and the mud. You can see his tracks just going sideways everywhere. And on top of that, we are going to be destroying the driveway and the street. So we will have a little bit, or I should say a lot of bit of cleanup here. Making a mess, one home at a time. Hey, good morning. This is Ed over at Team Aquascape, and I am heading out to a construction project. It is late November. We are trying to wrap up a few projects before the end of the season. Cold is upon us. Ground is freezing up. We got snow, we're on the fringe of it right now. From what I heard, Brian was out there yesterday with Chuck. They did some of the excavation, some of the demo work, and they started the excavation for the Aquablocks. So Tim is going to be bringing out the truck, and we're going to unload. We're going to start putting all the Aquablocks in place. So I will show you exactly how we do all that stuff, so stay tuned. All right, I just arrived on site. Project's really coming along. This was an existing water feature. All of that rock came out of it. The pond stretched all through this area and went all the way over to where these Aquablocks are located. Over here where the machine is located, there is going to be a wetland filter up in here that's going to fall into the pond area. It's going to be a little meandering stream coming through this section. It's all going to drop down into this large excavation here. This is a 2,000 gallon rainwater capture system, and all of those Aquablocks right there that Tim and Chuck are working on are going to go inside of that excavation. So the nice thing about this type of a system is you can see all these panels come individually. We put them together on site. So it's really efficient from a shipping standpoint. We could just build them according to the site needs, and we could stack them together in different configurations. You can see what Tim just did over here. It's a double stack, so that means we have individual blocks. So this is one block here, and then they share a common plate in between, and then we have another individual block. So we could put them together in different configurations. Each one of these blocks has a storage capacity of 32 gallons of water. The rubber liner is actually holding the water in place. This is actually just creating a structural void space for us. Chuck over on that side, tapping away. You can see these little pins over on this side. Those accept into these little tabs right here, and you just tap them into position with that rubber mallet. So for 2,000 gallons, we have approximately 60 of these blocks going in. Actually, but I guess it's 64 of them. Bottom of the excavation, nice and level. We have a layer of sand that's going to go in as a bedding material, just because it's very difficult. Once you start getting to an excavation of this size, it becomes difficult to make it level side to side as well as front to back. So by coming in with that sand, it'll kind of fill in some of those little voids and divots and things like that. So it allows us to over excavate everything a little bit more quickly, and then we could just come in and we could screed the sand off, and it goes very, very efficiently. That sand layer is also a bedding material, so that will allow the Aquablocks to seat themselves pretty solidly in the bottom. So once we get the sand in place, the next layer is going to be a heavy-duty geotextile fabric that goes over the excavation. The rubber liner goes in place. On top of that, there's another layer of the fabric to act as a cushion, and then finally all the Aquablocks. The other thing that goes in conjunction with this system is we have to have a pump vault. So once we have the water captured and stored, we have to have a way to access it. So over here, we have our pump vaults. This allows our water to come into the vault itself. And then this is modular. So each one of these are different risers you could add to it according to the site conditions. So then the top of this allows us access to the pump and the mechanicals. Pretty simple modular system. Aquablocks are complete. We have 30 double stacks. Each one of those double stacks is going to hold 64 gallons of water. So now down here in the bottom, we've leveled off the bottom. We used our laser transit, which is sitting over here right now, and it's covered up because of the wet snow. But we used our laser transit to check the bottom. We are 4 feet 5 inches below the grade. This double stack over here is approximately 3 feet tall. So that means the top is going to be set down a little over a foot. And that's because we're going to put about 3 inches of sand down here in the bottom. I've then taken my pump vaults and I'm going to set those in that far corner, and the reason we're doing that is our stream is going to come in from this area here. So this will kind of look like a deep stream area, and all the water wants to flow all the way to the back corner. So whenever I'm designing a system, I'm always thinking about the overall flow rate of everything that's happening. So I want to have my pumps located as far as possible from the discharge point, which is going to be way over here. So all that water is is going to flow down through the entire system, make its way back, and then it has to go through that entire 2,000 gallon reservoir before it gets to the pumps. So now I'm going to excavate that area out. Those two vaults are going to sit side by side in that corner, and I'm going to dig that area out, level it off, and then they are starting to bring in sand as we speak. So we kind of divided it up, leveled everything up. I'm going to dig that. The guys are going to keep bringing sand from the front, and we will be ready to go. Excavation complete, liners in. You can kind of see some of our fabric sticking out over on the side there. I prefer to have some extra fabric and liner go above and beyond the outside edge. What that allows us to do is once the Aquablocks and everything are in place, we could actually come in here and we can carve into that edge to create more of a naturalistic shape. If you look at it now, it looks like a swimming pool. This project is not a rectilinear pond. This pond is going to be more naturalistic. So we want to have nice sweeps and curves. So what this will allow us to do is we can come in, the Aquablocks should come in right about here. So what we'll do is we'll come in after we backfill, we'll fold the liner inside, and then we can carve into that edge to kind of create some sweeps. We won't do that until we actually get the rocks that we're trying to install on site. These were the rocks that were originally pulled out of the pond. Some of those will be utilized in and around the water feature, but we have some bigger moss rocks and things like that, which we'll want to utilize some of that material down in this section. You could also see over here, this is that deep area that we dug out. That's going to accept our pump vaults. So next step right now, cover it all up with the fabric, then we will start installing the Aquablocks. Aquablocks are in position. Pump vaults you can kind of see sticking out over there. So what we did was we take the layer of fabric, we're folding it inside, and now we're going to actually fold the liner as well. And then this joint over in here, we're going to fill with sand. So what that's going to do is it's going to put everything under compression. So we overdig everything all the way around the perimeter. That allows us to go in and install the blocks a lot easier. And then we come in with sand, lock it all in place, and then refold the liner back out, and we can do our stonework. We are down to the last little bit of sand, dumping it in over here. We got to top off just an inch or two there, and then the last bit over on this side. So right now we are bringing the other liners in back, and that's because we got to get that truck out of here tonight. So we just brought this guy in. That's a 30 by 50. That was kind of fun on the wheelbarrow. We're going to position our other one, which is all the way out here. Just got strapped up, just yanked it out of the truck. Our problem, not a huge problem, that gate opening actually had to pull out some of the fence right there to get the machine through. It's a little bit snug. We got a couple trees over in here that could cause a little bit of problem for us. We're going to try to bring this liner in back. And this is going to be used for the pond as well as part of the stream. The other liner is for the wetland, and then any other waterfalls and things like that for this project. Yeah, look at that. He's got very little space over here. A little bit more over on this side, maybe 8 inches or so, but it fits. The reason we have a machine of this size is because of the reach. We need the reach, and we also have some big rocks coming in. Again, to squeeze this in a residential property, it's about as big as you're gonna get. So our goal for the rest of the day, get everything unloaded. Brian just ran to go grab a little bit more sand over in his truck. We're gonna unload, we're gonna do that. We are gonna position all of our liners. We're gonna lay out the pond, and then tomorrow we're gonna come in and do our excavation. Excavation is well underway. You could obviously see the edge of the pond over in here. This is gonna be a waterfall where the pond is going to overflow into the stream, and then this will be the meandering stream that goes around over to our reservoir on the other side. Biofall is going to be located here. This is going to create the dramatic waterfall effect, so that waterfall will be falling towards the main viewing area of the home. We are doing this stone wall over in here, so that allows us to build everything up. We'll place our biofalls a little higher, so we're just going to keep extending this wall along this back edge just to get our elevation up, and then this could all be planted. And it's because we have a nice canopy. We have some of these spruce trees and everything over in here, but then you have this shed, you have the neighbors' houses and all of that stuff. So what we want to do is we're going to build this up to a higher elevation, and then come in here with some plant material to actually screen all that stuff off. If we add 6-foot material in there, that's going to be huge, especially from viewing from the home. So when you look across, that'll create a really, really nice backdrop. Coming in for the deeper section now, you can see this pond is going to be 4 feet deep. This little shallow shelf is a really easy thing to do, and what I mean by that, it's easy to leave a shallow section where you're gonna have a waterfall. If we were to dig that down straight, all the way down to that 2-foot mark, we would need 4-foot high boulders to create a waterfall. So now all we need is something 24 to 30 inches tall right over in this corner, and we can create a dramatic waterfall. The other nice thing about having those series of terraces, it gives you a lot more structural stability. Even though we have a good solid clay here, if you go just vertical walls, you're more prone to collapsing and things like that. So it takes a little bit more time. So this is more effective from an installation standpoint, but it looks better as well. So it looks a little bit more naturalistic. Fabric is going in. This is what we call an underlayment fabric. It goes underneath the liner, increases the load bearing capacity of the liner, and also protects it from rocks and things like that. We always try to get as much rock and roots and stuff like that out. You can see, broke up a bunch of stuff. We had lots of little roots and things like that. We wanted to clear as much of that stuff out as possible. We tried to get as best we can, and then we put down the necessary protection. So we're gonna put multiple layers of this fabric going all the way across. And next step is gonna be our rubber liner. And we have a 40 by 50 roll, just sitting right over there. We got about 650 pounds or so between 4 of us. So it'll be a fun liner to pull out just because we don't have good access. So it's gonna be a little bit difficult pulling in and around all this stuff, but we will make it happen. Liner's in position. We have a little bit of this corner kind of rolled up, and it's because we had to clean some material out that fell in. We're actually gonna leave it like that, and it's because we had to position the excavator right on that edge in order to get our stones over there. So what we want to try to do is just efficiently go around that perimeter down there to lock everything in place, and then we will systematically work our way up and out of the bottom. Our stone finally arrived. Problem is we cannot get that machine through to our staging area, which is over here. It's too wet, too muddy. He's slipping all over the place, getting stuck. So we are gonna have to hand him off. He's dropping one pallet, and then we're strapping him up with the other machine, and then we have to slowly move it over to here. And we have 12 of those pallets, which is definitely gonna slow things down here. And here's all the muck and the mud. You can see his tracks just going sideways everywhere. And on top of that, we are gonna be destroying the driveway and the street. So we will have a little bit, or I should say a lot of bit of cleanup here. Making a mess, one home at a time.